hello sisters. My first relationship ended about 4 years ago, and I had this female friend who was there for me after the breakup. We started getting close as time went on until she told me about her feelings for me when I was in my previous relationship, but kept it hidden. I loved her too, but just as a friend. Now, several months later, I decided to start a relationship with her to see if I could love her just as much as she did me. But it's been 2 years, and I haven't been able to love her as much. We find it difficult to connect and understand each other. We've gone on dates to spend quality time together, but the love hasn't really been there on my part. During my birthday last year, I met a lady on a trip with my friends, and we connected so well, like we've known each other for a long time. It's easier to talk to her, it's easier to confide in her. I fell in love with her, and vice versa. I want to spend the rest of my life with her as well. Now, I tried breaking up with my friend, but she also doesn't want to let go. I don't know what to do now. I need your candid advice on who to choose and how to go about it. Olivia, I'm coming straight for you. What are your thoughts on this one? How do we help this guy out?
Oh my goodness. You see, when you're in a relationship, right, and you don't focus on it, and you start looking out of the relationship, you end up complicating things that don't necessarily need to be complicated. First and foremost, let me go back. First and foremost, you weren't even sure about the love that you actually feel for your best friend. Because, I mean, you friend-zoned her, you have platonic love for her, and then now you decided, okay, you broke up, the relationship went sour with whoever it was that you were in a relationship with, and then bam, I mean, your best friend is there. I don't think you quite healed, but the fact that she was there and she was available, and then she gave you her love, it was convenient, you kind of sort of convinced yourself that maybe it wasn't just platonic love that you feel for her, and that you probably loved her. And that's the thing. Love is love. There are no gray areas. It's either you love somebody intimately or you don't love them. It's either you love somebody like you love a sister, like you love a brother, or you love somebody passionately or romantically. And there are no gray areas. You can't convince yourself to feel otherwise. It has to do with the heart. So the fact that you had to sort of force yourself to convince yourself that you love this girl took her through a journey of relationship whereby she's probably been in love with you for God knows how long. So your best friend, when you said okay to her, she was like, okay, finally, you can actually see me for more than just a best friend. And I'm sure she's loved you for the longest time ever. My thing is that I wish that you hadn't led her on, or you hadn't convinced yourself so much that maybe it's not just platonic love that you feel for her, because right now you're going to completely break her heart some more. You've wasted her time because she's invested her emotions, her love, her all into her relationship with you. And I mean, because the foundation of whatever it was that you're feeling wasn't genuine, that is how many years down the line you finally met that person that you don't have an iota of a doubt about, and you're like, oh, this other person that you bumped into at this party is the person for you. And my thing is, you can't. There's people's emotions here. There's people's hearts here. There's people's investments and commitments to you. I don't think that you should treat them like that. Moving forward, well, that's why you're here. You're looking for a solution. I think that marrying your best friend, or if you should continue your relationship with your best friend, it will be a bad idea. And I don't know whether you are in a sort of relationship with this new person who just came into your life right now, but my thing is, break up completely with your best friend. It's going to be a bitter pill for her to swallow, but it is what it is. She's better off you breaking up with her now, today, than going years down the line and ruining her life getting some kids into the picture and ruining the entire situation. I don't believe in going out with two people at the same time. No. Listen, the love part didn't work out with your best friend. Let her know. Break it all off with her. Break up with her. But be empathetic of how you break up with her. How you break up with her at this particular moment is very, very, very important. It's not going to hurt any less. She'll be broken, she'll be shattered, but she's better off without you right now. And then once you break up with her, by all means, continue your relationship. But moving forward, I hope that you're 110% sure about this other lady that you seem to be in love with. But going out there as well and throwing out some advice to people, if you're in a relationship, please try and stay focused, try and stay committed and make it work. This whole thing about meeting people in parties and falling in love with them some way. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay, all right. Well, let me see. Rosina, what are you thinking?
Okay, so what I'm thinking is that it's very difficult to move a relationship from a friend zone to an intimate zone, because the love expressed between friends is different from the love expressed between people who are actually dating or are intimate. So for instance, if you love somebody, you want to have a friendship with somebody, so you want to have a relationship with somebody, you need to grow that relationship to become friends. But it doesn't necessarily mean that good friends can make a good relationship. Because normally when you have someone who's a very close friend to you, they're even seeing you, in his case, seeing him relate with his ex-girlfriend when they were dating and all of that. Now, when she even starts dating you, she's going to be having a lot of expectations based on what she saw you do to the other girlfriend. That alone is another problem area. And then I've said this a few times, that women can fall in love with you because of what they feel, or let's say how you treat them, or how you make them feel over a period of time. Women can actually fall in love with you. But for men, I don't know the formula. A man can fall in love with you, yes, because you're a good cook, you are good at house cleaning. Another man will fall in love with you because you are so beautiful and he wants it. Another man will fall in love with you because you are very intellectual and outspoken and da-da-da-da. Another one will say, look, I don't want a woman who will challenge me in my decisions at home. So you don't really know what it is. And normally when a man loves a woman, he loves a woman. Forget it. There's nothing you can do, say, look, forget it. So what's happened, his mistake was, he should have admitted to himself that whatever he had for that lady was not something that could even transcend into a proper relationship. However, he felt like, look, she's my friend. She's a good woman. She's done this, she's done this, she's done that. But you see, every relationship needs to have some fire. It needs to have something, look, underneath all the sensible decisions and sensible ideas, their partner ticking all the boxes on paper and everything, there needs to be that extra fire that consumes you. That is where the interest, the attraction, the love, all those things built up from. So if that thing wasn't there, especially because she was a very good friend, you should have taken your time before entering into a relationship with her. However, I keep saying that, look, you are better off. I wouldn't say it as wasting of time, because the girl wanted it. When the other guy was dating the other girl, 4 years even after breakup, she was still on the sidelines, still loving him. So it wasn't like he was the one who forced her to love him. So I won't see it as wasting time. But it's better off her wasting time for an extra 1 year or 2 years, or her spending another 1 year or 2 years to realize definitely that this man doesn't love me, so she can move on and look for somebody who can love and appreciate her for who she is. That being said, when the man went out, I don't think that he had a serious relationship and he went out looking. He was not connecting with this girl, but he's been out of his relationship for 4 years. This girl is also here. Charlie, she's okay. The girl says, I love you, I love you, I love you. How long can you keep saying, no, I don't love you, I don't want this, no, we are friends, I don't think we should. It gets daunting. So yes, you did her, quote unquote, a favor to see whether you can also reciprocate that feeling. It didn't work out, agreed. Now that you've met somebody that you are attracted to, for me in this case, because of the precedence, how you got into this relationship, you are not looking at somebody else because it's not like you were in love with this girl, you wanted to be with her, and you bumped into somebody in the club, like we discussed last week. You understand? This one is an issue of even where you were, you were just marking time. Now, that being said, whatever decision you make, you have to break up with your best friend. Unfortunately, you may have to lose your friendship. Unfortunately, you may. It depends on how open-minded she is and how much she can handle some of these things. You may have to lose your friendship with her. And the mistake you shouldn't do is to break up with her, move on to somebody else, and still want to have a relationship with her or some form of friendship with her. It won't work out. Break up with her. Make sure that you sever it clean, neat. It will be painful, it will be deadly, but you'll get the message loud and clear that this man doesn't love me, doesn't want to be my boyfriend. She would heal. And when she heals, she will now be available to look somewhere else to have a proper relationship.
All right.
So, well, the harm has already been done, but Charlie, count your losses, break up with her. Even if you don't go out with this new girl, you will never marry this lady because you don't really love her. It's not somebody like you. But when he thinks of spending his life with a woman, I don't think this best friend is in it.
Right.
So she shouldn't waste the girl's time any longer. That's what I think.
Okay. Well, Jami Kwame, you've heard from both sisters. They're saying definitely this guy should break up with his best friend, if I can call her that. Do you hold a different opinion?
I think that we should just face it. Our guy doesn't know what love is. He's a fraud. This guy of ours is he's selfish. He wants to eat his cake and have it. I know for sure, or I think that it's because of this very selfishness that the other girl broke up with him. Because how can you accept to a love proposal from someone that you call your friend? Because to be able to call someone your friend, you must have real love for that person. So how can you accept, knowing that you don't love the person, accept that, okay, I love you, let me try. What type of trying is this? Is it like a school? Is it a product? What is it? This is human emotion. If you are a human being and you can accept to try to love someone, you are a fraud. So I think that our guy is guilty, totally. I mean, for one, and the second reason why he's guilty is that whilst he's trying with his best friend, how does he now go out to a party and meet someone that now he truly loves? Both relationships is not love. Love is an inclusion. Once you can tell someone you love that person, it means whatever that person feels, you feel too. So this guy is not feeling for the new girl. He's not feeling for the best friend. And even the one that just broke up with him, he probably didn't feel for her. That's why that girl also broke up. So the issue here is that this guy is selfish. So it's not like we are trying to justify that the girl is throwing herself on him or he's trying to have rebound relationship with her. No. This is a selfish guy. He doesn't know what love is. And I think we are wasting our time on him. Unless he's willing to go and get proper help. Because nobody that truly loves can forcibly love his best friend and find, whilst he's trying to love his best friend, meet another one that he truly loves. I think it is just sex. It is just about intimacy. It is just about something that is superficial. Love is not like that. If he truly loved his best friend, he wouldn't mess with his emotions. So that is one. And the second thing is that his best friend is a woman growing up in Ghana, I guess. How do you go and tell a man that I love you? How can you, a woman growing up in Ghana, tell a man I love you? We don't do that. It's like an invitation to treat. You must find a way to let him know you love him without saying it. Because immediately you say it, then the higher the demand, the lower the price. You have already lowered your standard, therefore your value. And so for a narcissistic guy like this one, who is just running through women because he has no respect, no love, no concept of inclusion, our guy is a bad guy. That's what I want to say.
So he's a bad guy. So you won't even advise him. He says, I need your candid advice on who to choose and how to go about it.
So for me, I would tell him to not to choose any one of them, because he will break the second one's heart too. Because whilst he's trying with the second one, he will meet a new girl who has probably bigger boobs, more makeup, or bigger buttocks, and change his mind again. So what he should do is to find enlightenment. He should try to understand exactly what love is. Because when you love deeply, you sacrifice yourself. When you lust, you sacrifice others. That's why I know, because he has sacrificed his best friend, I know for sure that he doesn't understand what love is. If he just wants to have fun, he should leave us alone. He shouldn't come and waste our time. But if he wants to really know, he must go and seek help from people, maybe from someone who truly understands what love is, or do some research, read some books to find out what love truly is. Because if you love somebody, me, if I decide that I love you, period. From that time, whatever it is that you are feeling, I feel too. It's not a certain mystical or ominous voice speaking in my head. So the advice that I'll give you is that you are wasting all these girls' time. Take time and understand what love is before you go and waste another person's daughter's time.
Interesting comments there. Thank you very much, Chiame Kwame, for that perspective. You used some very harsh words there. He's a fraud. He's selfish. Okay. All right. So let's just say he is. My 2 cents. I feel like you can't date someone out of pity. You know, like, okay, so you're with this friend, and because you just came out of a relationship and she was the one who was there, you sort of went out with her and that kind of thing. I think that's a very selfish thing to do. So I agree. Can't date someone out of pity. For that matter, I feel you should leave that friend. When it comes to this new girl, well, it's fresh. Something that's new, it's exciting. You might want to pursue that. But at the end of the day, maybe there are also comments from Ochiame Kwame that you need to consider. You know, how real are you being with yourself? Is this love, or is it lust that you're pursuing? Something for you to ponder on. We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we return, I've got another email coming your way, and you certainly want to hear what all my guests have to say. Don't go anywhere. It's Sister Sister on Citi TV and 97.3 Citi FM.
Let's take you on a journey of discovery, the incredible sights, artifacts, music, and adventure. It is what makes life worth living. Our history, the arts, and soul. Art and Soul with Melissa Awad. Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Only on Citi TV.
Art and soul, art, soul, art and soul, art, yeah, soul, art and soul. Art, soul, art and soul.
To Sister Sister on Citi TV and 97.3 Citi FM with me, Jessica. Special guest on the line with us today, Ochiame Kwame. We have Rosina, we have Olivia as well. Exciting times on the show. We'll go right into our next email, and this is it.
Sisters, I've been married for almost 2 years with a son. Before we got married, my wife and I never really got intimate. Anytime I made an attempt, she would refuse and give the excuse that we can have sex anytime and any day after marriage, so I should relax. I loved her and didn't want to break her rules and beliefs, so I agreed. Anytime it happened, I ran to my friend's shop where most of my friends meet to socialize. We have been married for almost 2 years and nothing has changed about my wife's behavior regarding intimacy. She seems uninterested as before. If I want to get intimate with her, I have to convince her before I can have access to my wife. Anytime I make a move, she would complain of not feeling well or not being in the mood. When she finally gives in, she doesn't allow me to even kiss her because she doesn't like it. Sex with her is really boring, but we have talked about this issue several times. I've shown her websites where she can learn these basic intimacy tricks, but she seems not to change. The fact is, I've had a real intimate relationship before I met my wife, and her level of intimacy is nothing to write home about. I'm sexually starved and I don't feel comfortable staying at home. Sometimes I leave home early for work and come back late after work just to stay at my friend's shop to while away time. I'm thinking of getting another woman, but I don't want to break my marriage vows. What should I do?
Interesting question there. So is being sex starved by your significant other an excuse to go in for, a new partner? Let me come to you, Rosina. What are your thoughts on this one?
First and foremost, like I said earlier on the show some other time, that when you're dating, even when you subscribe to a no sex before marriage, there should be something that attracts both of you. You guys should have it difficult. You guys should actually restrain yourselves from being intimate. I mean, there should be points where you feel like touching each other. You need to remind yourself, hey, you're not doing this. So, like the conversations, we can't wait to have this done, and then we can do this and we can do that. That excitement needs to show, so that you know that all of you are kind of like, you can't wait to seal the deal to do this. Now, that being said, there's a lot of reason. There could be many reasons why a spouse may not be interested in intimacy. Some of them could be because they probably suffered some form of abuse when they were children, or they were exposed to or have seen something that is sitting so much in their brain that when it comes to sexual relations, it probably takes them to a place that they don't like. So it's very uncomfortable for them. So for people like that, they need a proper psychologist who will probably go into their thinking, maybe go into their childhood to see whether if something happened, have they been raped before? Were they abused when they were children? Has she, as a child, seen probably a couple doing something and he probably didn't settle well with her? There could be something there. Number two, one statement hit me that she said that even when she agrees to have sex with him, she doesn't want to kiss him. So my question is that, is there an issue about body odor, mouth odor? Is there an issue around those areas where she finds it irritating? Instead of the whole love-making process being exciting, she's rather irritated by something, maybe how he keeps himself and all that. And maybe she's not being able to bring herself to let him know that, look, babes, your mouth doesn't smell too good, so I don't enjoy being with you. I don't know what it is. And then lastly, there are also some women who just don't like sex. That's it. So maybe your idea of this is what intimacy is about, she probably has a different idea of what intimacy is about. And if your way of tackling it is just showing her the videos and it's not working, maybe you should tackle it from her end. What would you want? Okay, I have an issue. You're my wife. I love you so much. I mean, I care about you, but I would also want to experience you in that other side. So what is the problem? Is this something I'm not doing right? Is this something I'm not doing? For all you know, she might tell you that, look, I'm just so tired with the kids. By the time you come home, I'm tired. And all you keep talking about is sex, and I'm irritated. Then like, oh, wow, you're probably overwhelmed. Or you may find out the real reason why she doesn't want to have that form of intimacy with you. But long and short, when you decide to marry somebody, you marry the person for the good, the bad, and the ugly. If she has a problem and she doesn't want to have intimacy with you, it's not an excuse to go and cheat on your wife with somebody else. That one is something that you have to, don't blame the woman. Try and solve your issue. Get to the bottom of it. If you have to see a shrink, see a shrink. If you have to, watch other documentaries about love, intimacy, not necessarily about sex, but love, intimacy, and all of that, do that. So you can gradually move her from one point to another. Now, if you haven't tried all options available and then you move, it's solely on your head. And even if you've tried all options available and this is a deal breaker for you, you are better off leaving the marriage and then finding somebody else, if that is what means a lot to you. But then again, what do I say? And I've also said before that sex is one very powerful tool in marriage. When it's good, everybody takes it for granted. But when it's bad, it can bring a lot of noise into the marriage. So what I'll tell this gentleman is like, look, maybe solve the issue from another angle. go back into her thoughts. What is causing this? Or maybe she's also low-key lesbian. You don't know. So I don't know.
Okay, interesting pointers there. Olivia, what are your thoughts on this one? I mean, how hard is it really to stay faithful in a situation like that?
It is hard. It is hard. But I mean, we could all come up with 1,000,001 excuses as to why to cheat on our partners. But does that justify it? You know, I mean, marriage is a lot of hard work. It doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come easy. But the thing is, are you ready to work at it? Does the marriage mean a lot more to you as an individual? I mean, it's hard. I actually do know of a couple, a man who also experienced the same thing. I mean, he was madly in love, same thing, got married. They actually married. I mean, it's been about 20 years now. I mean, in the marriage. And he kept asking his wife for sex. In the beginning, you know, it was okay. They had kids. And then he kept asking his wife for sex, and it was the big deal. And he had to go out. And his wife, to date, doesn't know that he's been going out to satisfy himself. And I mean, as far as she's concerned, the marriage is going on, but he feels bad that he had to do that to his wife. And so I wouldn't advise you to go and cheat on your wife. But what I'll say is it will take one day at a time. And in another scenario with a cousin as well, I mean, the man my cousin's husband had to literally go talk to his father-in-law and tell his father-in-law that, Dad, I mean, your daughter is not, you know, meeting me halfway intimately. And then my cousin's father came to my cousin's house, sat her down and said, hey, Master, you're not a picture frame for your husband to be looking at you. So you better open those legs and make sure that your husband is very well fed. You know, I mean, those are two different scenarios. But having said that, I mean, you need to, one way or the other, work on it. Have somebody. I usually don't like getting people in your marriage or in your business. Two things. Obviously, there's something about sex that completely puts her off. I mean, she's never wanted it. I mean, you have proof that she was a virgin, if I'm not wrong. Therefore, you know, it's not like, you know, she's been promiscuous or anything, but we all don't know what she has. There's a mental block somewhere regarding sex. And I do know that there are actually sex therapists out there that can help. So I'm not sure whether we have some in Ghana, but I'm sure, I mean, we could Google now, everything is a virtual world. You could Google and get some information. There's sex therapists to actually show you how to appreciate, you know, a woman's body and vice versa. And there are therapists who can actually also help her mentally to get her to be excited enough to want to be with you. There are people, I mean, this sex thing is a big deal. I mean, I say it time and time again, there are lots of people in the cycle because they can't have an orgasm. And I can really feel where you're coming from because, you know, at the end of the day, that's the pivotal part in the relationship that actually brings you together. Once the sex is great, the intimacy is amazing. It's like, it's love making. It's a moment whereby you both cherish and enjoy it together. And if you're missing that, then it's a big deal. What you could do is to have a conversation with her and tell her that, you know, you really love her and you really want the relationship to work. You don't want to cheat on her. You know that she doesn't enjoy sex and you're also tired of constantly having to beg her. This is how you're feeling. Is there anything that you could do to meet her halfway? What is the problem? You see, you need to get her to open up. Open up about how she feels and what you could do to make her feel better. If there's some kind of help that she needs to get, then by all means, please help her get that help. And like Rosie was saying, if there's something also about you that makes the whole sex experience not exciting, I think you need to look at that as well. Because if you say that she was a virgin and all, you know, then again you see, how was her first experience like with you? You see, touching her the first time, how you made the entire experience for her, especially the first time, was it exciting enough? You see, you could have probably put her off completely. She looks at you and she's like, okay, You see, so you also need to ask yourself some very, very important questions, but you wouldn't know until you have that frank conversation with her. And please, when she starts criticizing you intimately, as men as you are, you need to man up and accept it, because at the end of the day, love making is reciprocal. It's two-way. It's meant to be enjoyed. So if one person is not enjoying it, and it will be like wahala, chale, some way, some task, like you're going to wash dishes here, some way. So have that intimate conversation, find out where she's coming from. If it does mean that you need help, then at least you know that, okay, this is more than just what it seems. Then actually you can both go out there and get some help. Either than that, I don't see you moving on. And please, cheating is definitely not an option.
Cheating is not an option, says Olivia. I'm curious to hear what Ochiame Kwame has to say on this one. I mean, seems like the easy way out is for people who are being starved in their relationships to go out and seek intimacy elsewhere. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that my fine ladies are very wise. They've almost said everything. But I don't know if you've heard of the theory of vaginismus.
Oh, yeah.
Vaginismus, yes, it's a condition where an involuntary muscle spasm prevents vagina from opening up for a partner to penetrate. So maybe this lady has this problem. And it could also be from the fact that, yes, she's properly religious or spiritual, so she didn't want to do it. But when she did it for the first time, the man was too big. So because he is too big, or maybe she is too small, the penetration is such a big problem that they both cannot come to a compromise to make it happen all the time. Or maybe I can say this on record, that most Ghanaian parents, because they want their daughters not to be promiscuous, they tell them many, many, many lies about sex. They tell them that sex is evil, sex is bad, sex will lead you to drop out of school, sex is a sin, and then they bring this whole negative connotation about this amazing physical experience and exposure of love making, that immediately this lady falls in love and gets a husband. She's thinking that sex is such a big sin that she doesn't even want to do it, because especially after nights that she just prayed, both of you are going to bed, she closes her eyes to pray, oh God, please take care of my husband, and then immediately the prayers is done, please, I want to spoon. She'll be like, but we just pray, we are in the face of the Lord. So all these things come to play. Plus every other thing that the ladies have said, the backdrop of where she's coming from, maybe she might have been raped. But so I think that both of them should look at this from a scientific perspective. They should see someone. They should see a counselor to help them, a sex therapist to help them. Maybe for vaginismus, it could even be that she would need a proper operation before she can actually have him penetrate. Or maybe she actually married him for his money, married him for his brains, married him for his resources. And so that physical dimension of emotion is not available in the relationship. But I think that the man should have patience. He shouldn't go out there and cheat. Just because you are not getting banku at home doesn't mean you should go and buy it outside, Because I think that also for in marriages, sex is overrated. Sex is overly overrated. There are 4 main dimensions of every relationship. There's the physical dimension, the emotional dimension, the psychological dimension, and the spiritual dimension. So if you marry a woman for the way she looks or how amazing she is in bed, it will block your imagination to the point that you will not even have a spiritual awareness of how she feels like inside as an energy source that you can tap into and have spiritual orgasms. All those things happen, emotional orgasms. You can even sit down with a woman you love and just talk to her and have an orgasm. So the physical one is just the least of your problems. All
right, looks like we've lost you there, but you had me with the physical and emotional orgasms. I'm sure lots of people are yet to experience that. We'll see if we can get Ochiame Kwame back on the line.